It has been described as a fitting send-off for a moral leader for South Africa and the world. Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu was small in stature but larger than life, and many today remembered his tendency to giggle with a naughty glint in his eye. The rain fell in Cape Town today, preventing many ordinary people from sharing in that ceremony on big screens outside. But inside St. George's Cathedral, the singing and those remembrances soared. We're joined now by political analyst Professor Tinyiko Maluleke, who is also the incoming Tshwane University of Technology Vice-Chancellor. Thank you for being with us, Prof. Was it a fitting send-off?
You know, I tweeted earlier today saying that one should never use the word beautiful to describe a funeral, but today's funeral was a beautiful one. I think it was a fitting send-off. The whole ceremony, the decorum of it all, the rituals, the speeches, especially the sermon of Bishop Natal, was just what the bishop would have smiled to listen to and to behold.
I agree, Prof. Let's look at who attended. Former President Jacob Zuma, whom the Arch criticized heavily, was not there. But Thabo Mbeki was there, even though Tutu took him on publicly at the time about ARVs. Was that interesting at all?
Well, who did Tutu not take on? I mean, he took on Mandela already in 1996, 1997. When the parliamentarians voted for a huge salary increase. So, you know, it is interesting that former President Zuma didn't come, but I don't think that we should focus on that for today. I think we should focus on who was there and focus on the manner in which the entire world, you know, mourned him with us.
Yeah, and there has been extensive coverage internationally. You wrote about Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu in 2015, and I think it's relevant to look at what you were saying there, because he's remembered now for the TRC, and many have views on that, and also for his sense of humor, and also for his focus on love and compassion. He's often called the peacemaker. But you looked at the fiery side, especially during the apartheid years, when he met apartheid leaders. Just take us back and remind us about that fiery side.
Yes, there was a lot of fire in that man, you know, diminutive as he was. I recall in that article the meeting between him and P.W. Botha, because at that time the death sentence was still operational in South Africa. I think it was 1989, 1988. And of course, the meeting was supposed to be formal and gentle and, you know, but that didn't happen because the Groot crocodile started wagging his finger at Tutu and remonstrating until Tutu said, "Go to hell, I'm not your boy and you are not my school principal." And then there was a shouting match between the two of them. And Tutu actually walked out of that meeting in anger, telling him that his government would not last forever and neither would his power. It's a message that he sent to that government again and again. And it is a message that he had begun to send to this government, the democratic government.
So for those who say, looking back, that he settled for too little, maybe in terms of retribution for apartheid, say, are they not recognizing that he was a product of his time and also braver than brave, given the risks he took on personally, the manner in which he confronted a very powerful state?
And the manner in which he confronted black people when they were doing what he didn't agree with. I mean, during the necklacing period, he was there to intervene, sometimes dangerously for himself, as it were, and to chastise black people for reducing themselves to that kind of behavior where they were necklacing one another. So, you know, I think that the problem is that Tutu is simply too complex and too nuanced a person. So he was a priest, he was a theologian, he was a church leader, and that's really what he was. Everything else emanated from that. And because he wouldn't go as far as politicians wanted him to go, to become ideological, to become a card-carrying member, to endorse a political party, then they thought that he wasn't good enough, and they would start to hurl all sorts of insults towards him because they misunderstood him. But in his mind, his mission was very clear. He was here to advocate for the restoration of the dignity of every child of God. And for him, every child of God was the Palestinian, was the black person, was the person, the LGBTI members of that community. All of them, Tutu said, they were created in the image of God, and no one has got any right to mess with the image of God that is inherent in all of us.
And is that the lens through which you see his confrontation with Winnie Madikizela Mandela at the TRC that is often being brought up right now, when he said to her, on the one hand, I respect you immensely, but on the other, basically, I think you should be transparent and apologize?
Look, the one thing we can say about the Arch, even at that moment, is that he was always genuine, he was always authentic. And that, in fact, is the mark of his leadership. He was an authentic leader. So he wasn't playing up to any gallery. He wasn't putting on any airs in urging Madikizela Mandela to apologize. In fact, he asked not just her to apologize. Almost everyone who went there, whom he thought might have something to apologize about, he requested to apologize. Sometimes he even apologized on behalf of people who refused to apologize. So it's a little bit unfair that people are zooming in as if he only asked Madikizela Mandela to apologize. He never asked anyone else. That he didn't ask apartheid leaders to apologize. That he didn't try as hard as he did to get de Klerk to apologize, even to get P.W. Botha to come and apologize before the nation. He tried all of the above. So it's not really truthful to say that he singled her out. I think what we can say is that he was being genuine, he was being honest, even at that moment.
Thank you so much for your time tonight. A political analyst and the incoming Vice-Chancellor of Tshwane University of Technology, Professor Tinyiko Maluleke.